Welcome into the Fantasy Overtime. It is that time. Done. There we go. Wrong thing.
All good.
Get this organized a little bit better over on the graphics side. It's a little messy. But
a little messy.
Here, we got 21 viewers. They're coming in. Let's keep it going. Put your questions in the chat. Same thing as we always do. Make sure you let us know if it's PPR. If you're asking us whether you should play someone, give us the alternatives. We need to know who else is on your roster. We're going to give you some gambling advice, all that good old stuff that we do every week. And it is playoff should be starting if you're in a actual good show or a good league. So let's make sure to get those questions. You probably got a lot riding on today. A lot of questions, a lot of people out. We already got our first question in, so we'll be getting to those in just a second. So I have a question, and I hope you don't screw me over like you did last time when I asked you about a quarterback question. But I have Ben Roethlisberger versus the Buffalo Bills, and I have at Stafford, which I could stack with Marvin Jones, but I'd have to take someone out. So I got the Big Ben, Deontay Johnson stack, and I have the Matt Stafford, Marvin Jones stack. I don't really care about the stack as much as which quarterback do you think I should start?
Well, I would probably lean towards Stafford. I think that game could get into shootout territory, and he looked back last week. Darrell Bevell taking over things with Matt Patricia gone. So probably would lean towards Stafford. Ben Roethlisberger, like, what's the deal with the Steelers offense? They don't throw the ball downfield. If they do, it's like low percentage out of bounds down the sideline. Like, maybe he has an efficient day and gets in the end zone, but I think you have a lot higher upside. The Packers defense isn't very good. I think the Packers are going to win handily, but Stafford could put up some points.
Well, that's kind of how I've been leaning, but I also hate some last-minute tinkering that always tends to bite me in the ass. And the Buffalo Bills aren't that good either. So
that's true. The offenses that the Bills defense has faced are bad. So they are kind of like a fake good defense right now based on matchups.
We really think that the Steelers are a fake good team. So who knows where we actually end up or not. So I don't know where I'm going to go. I may have an answer for you at the end of which way I'm going to go. So you guys need to put in your questions. We're going to hit up our questions now because we got some rolling in. This is Full Point PPR, and this is from Caleb English on Twitter. Russell Wilson versus the New York Jets in the rain, or a Tannehill AJ Brown stack?
I mean, Russell Wilson is your guy, right? But the Seahawks are in a funk. I mean, they may snap out of that funk against a team like the Jets, who are really bad, who love to run cover zero on the last play of the game against. I mean, if they do that against, he's gone. Greg Williams is gone. So, I mean, it depends on. I don't think that the Jets defense can contain Seattle's passing attack, but will Seattle just run the ball and not pass it with Russ? Like, that's the question. It is raining. Meanwhile, Tannehill threw 4 touchdowns last time they played the Jaguars. AJ Brown has scored a 65-yard touchdown in his career against the Jaguars late last season. I kind of like that stack. I think the Titans offense could explode today. I mean, I'm not worried about the Titans offense today. If anything, you're worried about Jacksonville putting up too many points, which would in turn help your Tannehill AJ Brown stack. So I probably like that one more.
Yeah, I think, and I answered this. I leaned the Tannehill AJ Brown stack. I answered it on Twitter because of that reason. It's versus the Jaguars. We know that the Jaguars and Jets are both crappy, but the Jets sometimes play sneaky good defense against certain teams, and it's just kind of odd. Like you said, Russell Wilson's in a funk. I don't know who is taking over for the defensive coordinator position, but there's always that little bump, right? If this is addition by subtraction and Greg Williams and this defense plays just slightly a little bit better. I lean against the Ryan Tannehill AJ Brown stack myself.
Can we talk about this game really quick before we move on? So this
Yeah.
line opened at Seattle minus 13.5, and it hung around 13.5 all week. And yesterday it moved to 14, and I was like, okay, 14's a lot of points for Seattle, who's only their biggest win this season is by 13 points back in week 1. The line this morning has jumped to 16.5. It is still climbing. I am going to wait until close to kickoff and take the Jets at however many points it is at that point, because Seahawks, they just don't blow people out. That's not in their MO. And yeah, maybe they come out and win 30-3 against the Jets and I look like an idiot, but they just don't do that.
Well, there's also the thing where you can wait till almost the kickoff, and you can go with an alternate spread for just slightly worse odds. And you could, so if let's say that it ended at negative or minus 16.5, you may be able to get minus 17.5 for like 10 points less. I mean,
Right.
that's not bad in my opinion. So that may be something to keep an eye on that. Alternate spreads have worked out in my favor lately. Those and the alternate totals as well.
Yeah, you get that extra little, like, you get through that 17 number. That's a big number. So.
Yeah. So next question comes from Ben Wright. Phillip Rivers or Big Ben? Phillip Rivers plays the Las Vegas Raiders. And then you got, of course, got Big Ben versus the Buffalo Bills.
I mean, Rivers played well last week, right? Against Houston. I mean, Houston's defense is so bad. I just feel like the Colts aren't going to have to throw the ball. I don't know if you watched any of that Jets game last weekend, but all these no-name running backs you never heard of running all over the Raiders defense. Like Jonathan Taylor, we talked about this on the flex, but I like Jonathan Taylor this week. I'm not a Jonathan Taylor fan at all, but just in the matchup, I don't know if Indy's going to have to throw very much today.
That's what worries me about that, is that the Las Vegas Raiders, they can generate pressure, but they may not have the chance to because they have that three-headed running back by committee over in Indianapolis. Naheem Hines, you have Jordan Wilkins. It may be like I could see it very well being a 200-yard game for Phillip Rivers with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Like, I could just see it. I mean, so to me, I would lean Big Ben in this situation because I think the Bills present a better opportunity for him to stay in the game the whole game. I think easily the Raiders could just fall behind, and it's Derek Carr that's getting all the points, and Phillip Rivers who's just handing the ball off. So I think Big Ben is the way to go on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Josh Jacobs, and this is from fellow Flex member Josh Jacobs or Kareem Hunt in the Flex.
This is tough. Josh Jacobs is expected to play. They say he's cleared to play today, so that's not a concern. But Indy's run defense, they got Buckner and they got Autry back in the lineup, so I don't feel good about Josh Jacobs in that matchup. But Kareem Hunt has to play Baltimore. They got Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams back in the lineup. We saw Dallas and Zeke Elliott run all over Baltimore, and if they had like a little bit better defense, they might have been able to stay in that game just by running the ball. Kareem Hunt hasn't had like a great game in a few weeks. He's had like 3 straight games under 70 yards and no touchdowns. But I still think this is a decent matchup for him no matter what happens. Either Baltimore's going to run all over either Cleveland's going to run all over Baltimore and run away with the game and Kareem Hunt is the closer in that situation, or Baltimore puts up a lot of points on Cleveland and Kareem Hunt is used a lot as the passing down back. So I would lean Kareem Hunt no matter how that game unfolds, and I just am scared to play Josh Jacobs against Indy's run defense.
I wouldn't be scared to play Josh Jacobs against Indy's run defense because there's nobody back there, right? I know Devontae Booker will probably get some stuff, but we saw that he's not really anything. And here's the other thing is that they have given up rushing touchdowns like crazy over in Indianapolis lately, ever since for the last few weeks. So it's trending that defense, that run defense, it may not give you the yardage you're looking for, but you're at least going to be able to, I think, bank on a touchdown from Josh Jacobs. Where we're with Kareem Hunt, I don't know what's happened to him the last few weeks, but maybe it's because I've been betting on him, and so I probably will bet on him again today. So I would fade Kareem Hunt because if I'm betting on him, I wouldn't be worried about
it. I am starting Kareem Hunt in a playoff game. My other options are Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, so I'm going with Kareem Hunt.
Next question in PPR, Mike Davis or Todd Gurley going against Henry and Duval, so I need the help. LMAO. And I am with you. I, too, am playing a guy with Derrick Henry in the first round.
I have Derrick Henry in that round. In that same game, I have Kareem Hunt, so that's nice against Jacksonville. But for your problem, Denver's run defense versus the Chargers defense. But is Todd Gurley really? I mean, Todd Gurley has been kind of splitting carries recently with Brian Hill, and Atlanta's offense looks bad. Denver's defense is pretty good, though. So Mike Davis worries me. I feel like I honestly think Mike Davis is just breaking down. This guy has been kind of a journeyman backup, depth player his whole career. He's coming in to take over the lead role for Christian McCaffrey this season, and he did great earlier in the year, but over the last few weeks, he just hasn't been the same player, and I think it's because he's not used to or really capable of carrying a full workload like this. But is Todd Gurley at this point in his career with his knee issue? I feel sad for your matchup. I'd probably go with Mike Davis because it's PPR and he has a better chance to catch a bunch of passes out of the backfield.
I 100% confidence in Mike Davis to have a bounce back game, and it's PPR. So the Atlanta has came out and strictly said that Todd Gurley is strictly a third down running back, and I think they even said red zone running back. So there's not a lot of opportunity if they score from far out with Calvin Ridley or Russell Gage or anything like that. Yes, that gives Todd Gurley ample opportunity to, score a touchdown or two. But really, Mike Davis has the workload. They're coming off a bye, so he's rested now. And I don't think Denver's defense is that great. I think they have played crappy teams for the most part.
Shut down the Chiefs.
They didn't shut down the Chiefs.
In the red zone.
But I think the Chiefs are dumb idiots for not playing CEH. They didn't have their best running back out there. And I think Patrick Mahomes just has the yips in the red zone lately. So I wouldn't bank on that. I'm going Mike Davis, PPR, full confidence.
All right. Do it.
Next
maybe.
up.
I like Melvin Gordon, by the way. I don't know if you watched Melvin Gordon run all over our other team last week, but now he gets the Panthers defense, and they're not good either.
I'm going Phillip Lindsay on that one. For my flex, Terry McLaurin, CEH, or Calvin Ridley. That's quite the roster for those three guys to be considered in your flex. And I will say this, the Washington football team today put out a tweet saying that they expect the actual team put out a statement saying they expect a bounce back game from Terry McLaurin today and to start him in your fantasy lineups. And that's where I lean. I lean Terry McLaurin out of those two guys.
I am not going to play CEH when I could play McLaurin or Ridley, so I'm with you there. It's a toss-up for me between those two. I mean, the Chargers' defense hasn't been very good this year. Calvin Ridley's been good. I don't know about... I mean, McLaurin... Yeah, I like McLaurin too, but it's a tough matchup. I mean, if Richard Sherman is on him or Jimmy Ward is on him... I feel like the Niners... I love the Niners today because the Niners have been stuck in this hotel with nothing to do but study football for the past week. No distractions, no nothing. Last week, it was a challenge because they were like, where are we going to practice? What are we doing? What's our routine? We don't know anything. This week, it's like the NBA players in a bubble, like where they could just go back to their rooms, no distractions, all the food's there, everything's easy and taken care of. So I like the San Francisco team a lot today. So for that, but McLaurin's a beast, and he doesn't have offense.
And it's an Alex Smith revenge game. You haven't even said that.
It is, but it's also Kyle Shanahan revenge game, who got his most sort of his career start. He was in Washington.
No, it's not really a revenge game if you left, if you choose to leave. That's not how revenge games work.
You're right. This is a coin flip for me between McLaurin and Ridley. So go with your gut. My gut says Ridley. Zach says McLaurin.
Yeah, I'm going McLaurin. They expect it. That's what the Washington football team told us today. So next question. This is tough. Forgot to take James White out. Rest in peace. Who should get my flex? Mike Evans, Mike Davis, or Josh Jacobs? I lean Mike Davis again in this situation.
I love Mike Evans today, but I wouldn't fault you for starting Mike Davis. We already talked about why we're not super high on Josh Jacobs, even though he might be able to get a touchdown. Mike Evans, I mean, the Vikings pass defense is bad. They're coming off a bye. Evans has been nursing a hamstring injury, but the bye week should do a lot to help him get through that. Chris Godwin's back in full, so the defense can't focus on Mike Evans all day. And the Vikings pass defense, I mean, one of the most exploitable units in the league. So I actually am stacking Bucks in my FanDuel lineup today. Brady, Evans, and Godwin. Hopefully that works out. But
wow. I can't believe you got all of them.
Bucks offense today, man.
Okay, let's see. From Ryan Watson, another fellow flexer, Marvin Jones or Curtis Samuel in the flex to beat Greenlaw?
Is Curtis Samuel playing?
Yeah, I don't think Curtis Samuel just came back off the COVID list. He just got like yesterday or 2 days ago. So I would still lean Marvin Jones because there is no Kenny Galladay. There's going to be a lot of opportunity, more than likely, for this Lions offense with the Bevel effect. They want to play fast and they want to pass the ball. You saw it last week. I know DeAndre Swift's back, so they may try to run it more versus Green Bay Packers defense. But I really do think that Marvin Jones and Matt Stafford is a safe play this week.
Yeah, I agree. Marvin Jones.
We got another one from Ryan as well. Gio Bernard versus Dallas or CD Lamb versus Cincy. PPR league for my flex. Oof.
I mean, Giovanni Bernard, right?
Right. You have to go with the safe play because I don't know about CD Lamb right now without Dak. It seems like Andy Dalton really loves Amari Cooper.
Well, last game, he loved CD Lamb, but he seems to switch every single game. That was CD's best game with Dalton at quarterback last weekend against Baltimore, or last Tuesday, I guess, against Baltimore. That's the other thing. Dallas coming off short week, just playing pretty recently against Baltimore. So, I mean, Cincy's defense is terrible, but so is Dallas's. Dallas's linebackers have been really bad. I mean, on that long Lamar Jackson touchdown run, like Leighton Vander Esch just abandoned his gap completely and left the middle of the field wide open. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins ripped off 30-yard runs apiece, too. I think Giovanni Bernard has a monster game against Dallas.
Yeah, I agree. Last question, unless any more questions pop in the chat. Terry McLaurin or Corey Davis? Don't know if it's PPR, but it probably really doesn't matter because I think they're both pretty similar outlooks today.
Yeah.
I would probably lean Terry McLaurin. That's hard. That's tough.
I feel like Corey Davis is more risky because there's a chance that the Titans just run the ball and Corey Davis ends up like he did against the Colts a couple weeks ago when the Titans put up 40-something points and Corey Davis had 3 catches for 70 yards. And you're like, okay, thanks. But McLaurin is going to be part of that offense no matter what, right? So I probably would lean McLaurin.
Yeah,
just
I think
for safety's sake.
Yeah, I think it's an A.J. Brown game today. I think after the drops that he's had, I think it's going to be an A.J. Brown game today.
And everyone's on Corey Davis after his 11-catch, 170-yard performance a week ago. So it's like, is he going to do that again? He's never been that consistent throughout his career. I know I love Corey Davis, but that's not really been his, he doesn't do that very often.
Well, we appreciate your all's questions. We are out of time. This is the Fantasy Overtime. You can follow me on Twitter at FWordsPod. You can follow Justin at titansfilmroom on Twitter. We got one more question popping in as soon as I start doing that, and we'll get to it. Logan Thomas, Jonnu Smith, Jordan Reed, or Dalton Schultz at tight end?
Wow.
Jonnu Smith. I think Big Mike has bet on Jonnu Smith, and he put him in a parlay, and he bet this. Jonnu Smith over 50 receiving yards and a Jonnu Smith score anytime. So I think you should ride with Big Mike, and I think you should put Jonnu Smith in. And if Jonnu Smith sucks, now you have extra incentive to talk trash to Mike.
Boom. I like that parlay.
Yeah.
And Mike isn't wrong that often, so.
He's wrong a whole lot. I don't know. You must not listen to the podcast on Football Note.
Taywan Taylor, that was a miss.
The Trevor Siemian, that was a miss. He's a miss on Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah,
he said it. He said it.
Trevor
So we are
Siemian
out of time
coach.
on the Fantasy Overtime for real this time. We appreciate all your questions. Good luck in your fantasy playoff matchups. Good luck on your betting. Make sure to go check out Broadway Bets written by Justin, and make sure to fade all the bets he tells you to bet because he's not very good at it. So he's on a cold streak. But today could be a rebound.
Today's the rebound. Hammer the Saints.
Yes.
Hammer the Saints. Alternate line, -20. Okay, not that crazy. But...
There you go. All right. We appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.